It's fair to say that Pewaukee defensive coordinator Mike Lecker is familiar with the Watt family. He coached all three brothers, their uncles, and their father John.
How ultra competitive they all were. They always wanted to be the best in whatever sport, football of course, but in other sports like track and field, basketball, whatever. They didn't like losing. They still don't.
No matter where the bar was, the next guy was trying to go over it. And I think if they got together right now and it was chicken wings, they'd see how many they could eat, right? I mean, that's just what they do. They are competitors to the end.
Each had different skill set. JJ, the oldest, was the tallest in high school, and at Wisconsin, he blossomed. From there till now, everybody knows the story. Derek, the middle one, outstanding, gifted high school football player. He was a running back here. We played a 3-3 stack defense. He was the middle backer. He made some plays that were unbelievable. TJ was the youngest one. And there was, in a sense, he may not have admitted it, but I know that he was under a lot of pressure.
His senior year was the year that JJ really blew up and was having a great year, his first really big year in the NFL. And that's a lot to live up to and a big shadow to live under. Derek was a phenomenal high school player. He was the AP Player of the Year in the state. And so I think, really for TJ, he just wanted to be his own man and carve his own identity.
And as a senior, he was asked to take over the quarterback position. He handled it beautifully.
TJ was known to have good hands as a tight end throughout his high school career. But prior to the start of his senior year, Coach Frisky felt that a position switch would be best for the team.
His good hands weren't going to be very useful if we had no one to throw him the ball. And so from my perspective, I felt like if we didn't have a guy at quarterback that was going to be able to get him the ball where we could really use him, why not give it to him every play and see what he could do with it? He was the best player we had. Luckily for me, it proved to be a good move. In a perfect world, he would have stayed at tight end, but moving him to quarterback was something I felt we needed to do for the team. And in talking to Wisconsin in particular, because they were pretty heavily recruiting at the time, they were fine with it. And they said, we might be recruiting as a tight end, but we understand at your level, you got to do what you got to do for your team. And certainly it was not going to be any sort of a dark mark against TJ in his recruiting process. So interestingly, he was our holder and our punter and a whole lot of other things too. So
one day we were out here before practice and Coach Frisky runs a rugby punt and he asked TJ, did you ever rugby punt? No. Give it a try.
Well, I threw him a ball, like, hey, just run to your right and kick it.
So without any practice, he goes out there and rugby punts it 80 yards.
80-yard punt. And I looked at Coach Lecker, our defensive coordinator, and he looked at me and I said, okay, I think we found our punter.
The sound of that ball hitting his foot is something I'll never forget. It was like a rocket going off. I'm going, you gotta be kidding me.
It was really a great situation. We had a fantastic year, won a conference championship, undefeated regular season, and I think a lot of that was just due to his presence. We were playing a team that we had never beaten at Pewaukee his senior year, and this was right after JJ made the play in the playoffs the previous year. We jumped up and picked off the pass and ran it for a touchdown. TJ did exactly the same thing. Kid dropped back to pass. TJ was playing defensive end. He knew he wasn't going to get in to sack him. And so the kid threw an out route that TJ jumped up, caught it at full extension, took it back to the 2-yard line, and we scored the next play. Just a play that a typical kid can't make. Remarkable on the field, but even better off it. Just a great kid. I remember my first experience with him was when I was introduced as the new head coach, and there was talk that he could be the best of the three, and you're wondering what's this going to be like. And he was the first kid to introduce himself to me when I got to the meeting. Kids from Pewaukee, kids from Wisconsin, they are who they are. And I think the best thing about the Watt kids is that they're authentic. Great people who care a lot about the communities they live in, who care a lot about their family, and really love the game of football.